Refurbishing an old Mamod Steam Wagon. This is part 1. I've owned this old Mamod Steam Wagon for a few years. I bought it from a good friend of mine, who has since died. The time has come to make it work again. This engine has sat on a shelf for a long time. Not only is it a bit dusty, it's a bit rusty too. I'll put that right later on in this short series. Most of the rust is in one place, over the front wheel. The canopy's in good condition, it's just a bit dirty, from being handled over the years. Talking about years, I don't know what year this is. It's quite old, but it's not as old as some Mamods that I have. It has a water level warning written on the back of the bunker in German as well as English, and it uses one of these type of burner trays. This type of burner uses solid fuel tablets, and I've ordered some of those. They should be here next week. The chassis is in very good condition, mainly because it's always been covered up by the body. This is definitely a later model because it has a water gauge, which is not dissimilar to a Wilesco steam engine's boiler. The top area of the front part of the engine is not in bad condition either, it's just a bit dirty. The safety valve had quite a lot of limescale around it, and I had to remove this, or at least start off the removal process, by using a pair of pliers. A couple of weeks ago, I was at a place called the Steam Workshop, talking to a man called John Holroyd, and we were discussing the TV programme called Repair Shop. And two of the people on Repair Shop use saliva as a cleaning compound. And John said, yes, it's very good for removing limescale too. A good time to put it to the test. By just using a small amount of my saliva on a cloth, the limescale disappeared. Moving on to the engine part, this does not feel good. It feels very sticky and quite stiff. An ideal time, I think, to insert a girlfriend joke. Later on in the series, I will be giving this model a thorough clean. But this time I won't use my ultrasonic cleaner because that does tend to remove the paint, which is often a good thing, but not in this case. This is an underside view under the front of the engine. I was thinking about removing these mudguard splasher things, but then I had second thoughts. I should be able to fix the rust on the top part of one of them without removing the assembly. In this clip I started the lubrication process. All of the moving parts were very dry. To correct that, I applied some oil to every moving part that I could see. This is Hallett Oil's general purpose lubricating oil. It is not machine oil, it's a little bit thicker and designed to lubricate bearings. Very quickly, all of the lubricated parts rotated very freely, as you can see. Once I lubricated the underside, I put the engine the right way up and applied some lubricating oil to all the moving parts of the steam engine mechanism. To be honest, when I rotated the flywheel, the entire assembly didn't feel right. It was a little bit, how can I say, sticky. After lubricating all the parts, once again with this Hallett Oil's lubricating oil, it was still a little bit sticky, but slightly better. This is only the introduction. In the next episode, I will rectify this problem. It's an easy enough fix if you know what you're doing. As a child, I did have some Mamod steam engines, a couple of stationary engines and the steam tractor model. And I really used to like taking things apart. Nothing different there then. I can remember one time when I was in my early teens that my father got quite angry and said, look, we buy you all these good things, nice toys and a record player, and what do? You take them apart. That was very true. My philosophy is if I take something apart and it is rubbish and very badly made, it's just an absolute waste of time putting it back together. Although, to be honest, the reason I've always dismantled things is to find out how they work. Maybe with the exception of the record player. I was never allowed to dismantle my father's pride and joy, the large ornate radiogram that he had. And in the mid-60s, I got very interested in music and noticed that most of the bands that I saw had separate amplifiers on top of the speaker cabinets. And for that reason I dismantled my record player, took out the valve amplifier and built it into a Budgie's nesting box, which was just lying around doing nothing. That did not go down very well with my father. Back to the Mamod job. With the help of a piece of silicone rubber tubing, I am applying some compressed air into the boiler, but the engine is reluctant to work. I applied about £20 per square inch, and the engine would not go, so there's obviously something wrong with it. The reversing lever was very loose and flopped about. I removed the piston to check the piston fit, and that was sort of okay. It's a good idea to undo the screw that holds the piston to the block via a spring before you attempt to take the piston out of the cylinder. Using about 30 pounds per square inch of compressed air, which is as high as I would like to go, I did get some movement, but I don't like the way the reversing lever is wobbling about. It shouldn't be doing this. And at this pressure the engine should be a blur. But it's not, and it seems to be struggling. I'll turn my attention to the rust on the front mudguard. This part is very badly rusted, so I think to do the job properly I will have to remove the mudguard, which will require the drilling out of 2 pop rivets. In this clip you can see part of the reduction gearing to the back wheel. To make the steam wagon move, you remove this spring drive, put on a longer spring drive to a pulley on the inside of the back wheel, and then replace this spring drive, and off it goes. It was quite difficult to hold a piece of silicone rubber tubing over the hole where the safety valve goes. So to end this episode, I'm temporarily refitting the safety valve, and while I'm at it, I'm testing that the top part of the safety valve lifts to release the pressure, and it does. In the next episode, I will show how to make an adapter to fit in the safety valve hole to apply compressed air, and I will also show what is wrong with the mechanism. But that's it for now. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Main Steam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.